And if anything, I can just cut out. Okay. Can you please introduce yourself?
Okay. My name is Stephanie Saint Sanchez.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
As far as literary practice, or I believe that I am. When people say that they're a Renaissance person, they do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I do a lot of things. You know, I'm a filmmaker. I'm a writer. I'm a playwright. I'm a live performer. I do. I guess I don't want to call it necessarily like stand up because I usually use media. It's sort of like a TED talk that nobody cares about or nobody requested. That's one of my favorite things to do. So live performer. I have a film festival, Senorita Cinema, that I founded essentially, and it's the only all Latina film festival in the world. A lot of film festivals nowadays, they'll have like a ladies' night or a ladies' program. We're an entire film festival. We're an entire 3 days dedicated to films directed by Latina visionaries. So I'm very proud of that. It would be really nice that in the future we will not need that because everybody's very inclusive and all our voices are heard, but we're not quite there yet. So I'm still very proud to host that. And I'm a writer. I'm a mother. I'm a new mother. What else? Part-time crime finder. Not fighter, finder. Anyway. I guess that covers it. Yeah.
Yes, talking about your film festival, I was reading that you were inspired by the BH Live, but what actually motivated you to start it?
Well, when I was a kid, we would like play stuff. Like some kids would like. I grew up, I guess, around the 80s, that time period. So it was very Star Wars-y. So we would play Star Wars, like you would pretend that you were, but I would rewrite it, and I felt I guess either I was very bossy, or the kids were just really susceptible to suggestion. So I would kind of write these scenarios. And to me, like making film to this day, working with the people that I work with, I feel like you have to have a certain, have you ever heard the phrase, I found my tribe kind of thing? When you're working in independent film, you have the luxury. You don't have the luxury of money. You don't have the luxury of a big studio backing your project. But you do have the luxury of working with people that are in your tribe. People that you believe in. People that you want to see succeed. People that you can appreciate. And I think that's what it is. Like, even back then, as a little kid playing with your friends. So it's sort of like playing with your friends, but on a much bigger scale. So I think that's what it was. And I was always very attracted to media. And I remember, kids like Sesame Street, stuff like that. And my mother told me that I wouldn't watch shows really, but I would watch the commercials. So I was really into short form, very short attention. And then, of course, MTV came out. And so then you have music videos that are like mini stories. So I think I've gravitated towards short form, which is why I haven't committed to a feature yet. But I'm getting there, I'm moving more towards episodic television at the moment. And maybe that's where I belong. Because guess what? If you make a movie, that's great. You made a movie. But if you make a TV show, you have a job for a while. And now as a mother, you want a job for a while. You want to keep working. All my answers are going to be really long. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And they're going to go all over the place.
I like that. Okay, good. Still recording. The Senorita Cinema is considerably new to film festivals. What do you hope it will accomplish in the long run?
Okay. The feeling that I got, the reason I did Senorita Cinema is the reason that I continue to do it, right? When I went to BH Live for the first time, I had sent out my films to a bunch of festivals because it's like that's what they tell you to do back in the day, right? Just make a movie. And I don't know if you're hearing this, but if you know about festivals, but they charge you to send your movie. There's an entry fee. Of course, you can send an email nowadays that says, what can I get the hookup? I'm just a poor ass. I'm just and they might be able to magically waive the fee, so it doesn't hurt to ask. That's a suggestion from me to you. But after a while, rejection after rejection, it's like you're losing money. It's depressing, right? So when I entered BH Life, I think it was like the entry fee, like either there was no entry fee or it was like a couple of bucks, and I was like, man, if I can't get into a Latina film festival, okay, I didn't get into Sundance and I was crushed because I was that young, right? I was thinking that you could really do it. Because remember, it was during that time, it was after Pulp Fiction, and this is when like the indies, it was like the independent, and like anybody can do it now, and they wanted like different voices, and I was like, that's me, and well, I wasn't quite there, obviously, yet, but so when I got accepted and I went to BH Live, I felt this feeling of like it was a validation as a filmmaker. It was because it was having an audience. It wasn't your mom and your dad. Mija made a movie. You know what I'm saying? Coming to see your stuff, and of course your homies are gonna be like, yeah, this was a group of women that had never seen any of your work. And then an audience, and they watch what you're making, and then afterwards you have conversations with these people, and they're saying, I had that experience, or like, I love that, or I disagreed with that, with the pushback or anything like that, and you felt like this feeling of not necessarily of acceptance, but a validation of, I'm an artist, I'm a filmmaker, I have a voice, and I'm on the right track, and I'm going to continue, and encouragement, that kind of thing. And so that's what I want Senorita Cinema to be. I want women to have a chance to exhibit Latinas to exhibit their work, to have that experience, because as an independent film, that's your biggest perk, really, is going to a festival and just having that moment of it on the big screen, not someone watching it on their phone, but having an audience, having that community, having that touchstone, right? And even if you're not able to actually come to the festival, but having the validation of having your work shown in a closed capacity, where it is someone who, that there are people that are watching your work and they're sitting in a dark room together instead of on their phone, And if they choose to, like a student could, or anybody else, they could look you up, they could find out more about your work. And I just want it to be, it would be nice if it was like this big, oh, Selma's coming. I doubt it. You know what I'm saying? But I think that I would like to, as far as like financially, as big as we're going to get, I think is probably having the ability to have a name actor, come down and do a presentation or show a film. Because guess what? Even Latina women who have made big projects or whatever, like for instance, Josefina Lopez, who had the BHI Festival, had the success of Real Women Made Curves, she couldn't get a second project for nothing, and so it took her years to make her next feature, and I hate to say it, not many people heard about it because it was very controversial, because she didn't have any, because it's her voice and that's her vision, and it was about border issues and it was about immigration, and it didn't paint the gringos kindly, because not everybody is, and it was, so Hollywood didn't want to hear it that year, and I was like, this is a powerful film, this is a timely topic, and I brought her down, and not only, she was so gracious, she came down, she presented her film, and then she hosted a workshop. And she didn't even ask for money. She didn't even want it. She's just, I wanted, that feeling of giving community, of giving back. She's, I don't know, I always say nice things about her, because she's like without her, I wouldn't even be, I probably would have, I'm not going to say I would have given up, but I wouldn't have found my way here, where I'm at now, without her, See, long answers.
I love them. Okay. Who is your targeted audience for your work, and does it vary depending on film?
Okay, so I don't know if maybe your next question would be like, who are your influencers or something like that, or if that's involved, but you can see a movie and I'm gonna start doing some name drops, right? So, so a friend of mine goes, our live shows, like theater, right? So live theater. Oh, did you see Mamma Mia? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well, how was it? Was it good? He's like, oh, it was cute. I don't want to be cute, right? I was cute. I just, there's something just like really annoying like that. I mean, I don't want to terrify you. I don't want to make you want to gouge your eyes out or anything like that all the time. But maybe once or twice, maybe you need it. Maybe you should have that. But as far as like the audience, I think it's like, oh gosh, I'm not making it for a particular audience. Although I do, if you've been doing work as long as I have, you start noticing stuff you like, genres that you like, characters that you like, situations that you like, I don't want to say, because I hate them, so I'm not going to bring them up. See, that's that thing, right? Like, do you want to support an artist that you like their art, but you don't like them? But, okay, here we go. I'm going to talk about it, okay? Just because that's a subject that, if it's going to be in the archives, let this be said, okay? Woody Allen. Okay. He's very controversial. Right, yeah, okay. So, the question is, can you like someone's art if they did something horrible, right? And my answer is, well, but can you like the art that they did before they did the horrible thing? Yes. I guess. I mean, I feel the same way about like a lot of artists and stuff that like for, they were great and then all of a sudden they took a really crazy turn or whatever. And it's because I think what happens with success is that you get to a certain point where no one can touch you or you think you're above the law and you're surrounded by people that kind of depend on your money, so they're going to agree with anything that you do. And there's no one really like looking out for your moral compass or even being there to, there's no one there, so if you're already kind of forming in a awkward, in a not the best way, there's nobody there to stop you. There's nobody there to say, oh man, wait a minute, right? It's a big free for all, which sucks, But wouldn't it be nice to aspire to that? I feel like we all aspire to that, just to have enough money and cred just to do whatever what the hell we want. For the good, right? With great power becomes great responsibility, as they say. But the question was, who's it for, right? Okay. So that's what if you like my work or if you don't like my work, if you show up for it, that's great. But the thing is like, all right, okay, now I remember. There are certain subject matters that I like, that I tend to use a lot, right? Because I lived with my mother for many years. She's your mother, right? So that I have a, I'm not gonna say a stock mother character, but there's a mother character in a lot of my work, and she's the voice of pessimism and sage wisdom, and also just knows the right buttons to always press to make the protagonist feel like crap, or lift them up, but it's a beloved, and I think maybe that's what I kind of, oh my gosh, I'm feeling breakthrough, is that I kind of want to be that for an audience, right? I kind of want to be able to push your buttons and to uplift you and to make you feel like crap, but love you, but I still love you, because I describe that. That's why I like short form stuff. It's because I can come at you and then hit you, pop, 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 with something that is deeper than, a pie in the face, okay? There's a meaning to the pie. What's the pie made out of? Who made the pie? All these things are not, you don't know that when you just see someone throw a pie in someone's face. Whose face is it? Who's throwing the pie? These are all the questions that I'm answering with my particular worldview, right? But it's still funny because someone's getting a pie in the face. You know what I mean? Yeah. But afterwards, I'll give you a towel. You can wipe off. It's okay. You're fine. It's just a movie, right? But for a minute, you thought about something else. I think that's what it is. It's powerful. I think it's as much power as any one of my ability is going to have. Because I'm not going to run for political office. There's too many crazy people in my family. There's too many skeletons in my closet. There's too many skeletons. And, thank God, my heyday was before Facebook. There's just I would never be able to hold my head out. Poor kids today. I'm sorry, I'm already dating Instagrams. I'm not supposed to say Facebook anymore because that's the... I heard that Facebook is the bastion of, like, drunken mothers. Yeah.
Okay. Where do you find inspiration for your work?
A lot of it's life experience. A lot of it's reflection on life experience. Everyday headlines sometimes, like, you know, you'll read something terrible, but you're like, oh, well, what would that really look like? And then taking it to, like, you know, the 10th level of, like, you know, how would that be funny? Because remember, the difference between comedy and drama and comedy, right, is a week, right? That's what they say. Is it like something like, oh, I got broken up with, my life is shit, you know, and a week later you can reflect on, you know, well, that asshole, and then, you know, there's comedy there. So I like to say in my mini bio that I've been sending out for 1 million years is that the psychoses, real or imagined, right? Yeah, so it's you know, oh, there's a blue plate. Oh, well, you know, how did he... Like that, like the pie thing. How did it get blue? Asking yourself these questions of the everyday. And I think that's what I like to do. I like to take the everyday and turn them into... I don't want to say superheroes, but I think everyone's story is worthy of, you know, what Andy Warhol, like, everyone will be famous for 15 minutes is what he said. I'd like to make that orange famous for 15 minutes. I'd like to make, you know, the cafeteria lady famous for 15 minutes, you know. Yeah, I'd like to shed light on that for 15 minutes. So I think it's like the surroundings, real and imagined. Yeah.
The people in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. The people in the background become... Yeah, there's golden people. You know golden people. Golden people are the people that, like, if you go to any tourist attraction or whatever... They're the people that are like, they get the best seats for the fireworks, right? Mm-hmm. You see them, right? Because they're drinking coffee, like, oh my God, this is the best cup of coffee. And that guy was so nice, he just sat us right down. Mm-hmm. These are golden people, the people that, like, all these luxury, wonderful things happen to. They're usually very beautiful. You know, that's just the way it is, right? You know, and here you are, you get the children that's like half broken, and you're just like, So, yeah, I think that might be a suffice thing to say, is that putting the people in the background into the foreground and giving them a moment of sun, you know, giving them power, giving power to people who wouldn't necessarily have power.
Okay. Where or what helps you when you are in a rut in your writing?
I can't say that.
You can't?
Well, I shouldn't say that. You know, okay, alright, I'll say it. Okay. We're adults, right? And it's legal in certain states. And that's not always the answer, by the way. P.S. though. But sometimes that is, though. And I'm not going to lie. Sometimes that is, right? Sometimes all you really need is to get out of your house and to go out and be around other people. Because that's where your characters are. Because if you go out, even to like a small gathering, a party, a bar even, you know, with a couple of friends or whatever, maybe you haven't seen them for a while, maybe you see them all the time. Someone, like, you know, I mean, I don't know if you're a bar person or whatever, I wouldn't necessarily call myself a bar person, but I did enjoy them, you know, earlier in life. And man, some of the best storytellers, the barstool storytellers, are like the best. You know, too bad. I mean, I've learned to, like, not drink so much that you don't remember the story the next day. That's the key, right? Is to try to remember the story the next day. So, or even going to the movies, you know. The other night, I had the choice between going to an art opening, going to a poetry reading, going to a film screening, or because I'm married and old and just lazy and live in the suburbs, or just staying the fuck home. Which I could have done, right? And which happens a lot more now, you know. But I was like, no, man, I really... you know, so I was actually driving into town, and I hadn't decided yet. I really hadn't. And so I was like, I don't know anything about this movie. All right, and I went. Blew me away. I went to see this movie blind. It's called Walker. It was directed by Alex Cox, the same guy that did Repo Man and Sid and Nancy, and the director was there. He's a world-famous director. He's at Rice Cinema. It's the day after the big film festival, and that's what I was supposed to go to, you know. But this was like his extra bonus screening that was free, and there was about 12, 15 people there, you know. And I knew nothing about the movie, and I just sat there expecting whatever. Blew me away. Just the Q&A afterwards with him, and then actually getting to talk to him. Because if I would have gone to the film festival when he was presenting, you couldn't get near him. Because guess who's going to get near him? The golden people. Right? Like, I got to sit down with Alex Cox. He was the most amazing guy. We went out to drinks afterwards. He's so great. He's, you know, that's not going to happen with me, right? But since I was there and there's like 15 people there and I knew the guy he introduced me, and I actually had to have a good conversation, not like 12 people like with their stuff getting ready to sign going, you know, sitting behind me. So, but I didn't have to do that night, you know? And based on what I did that night, it energized me to go, okay, let's finish what we were doing. Let's get back to this with this new spirit. So sometimes you just got to go out. That's it.
Okay. Since I know now that you have a daughter, what do you hope she takes away from your art when she's old enough to understand?
I've already put her in the movies.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah. Man, she has, I don't know. I mean, she's still pretty young, so I'm trying to figure out, like, her temperament, right? Mm-hmm. And I got a feeling you ever see Willy Wonka? I mean, she's not going to be a Veruca, but she might. Like, I got feelings like, you know, she's like, I want that right now. And I feel like, anything, baby, you know? And you don't want to be that parent. I'm like, oh my God, am I becoming, you know, that parent? I hope not. Because she has this great streak of kindness in her, you know, like she'll come and she'll like pet you, but then she'll like grab for your eyes. So that's like, what is that? She's a Gemini. That's what you know, and I've been teaching her like luchador moves, like the flying squirrel, you know, so I'll go flying squirrel and she'll like put her arms out and jump. Like with like no trust, like total trust. Like she doesn't even care where she's going, just like flying squirrel, you know. So she takes direction really well. So I'm hoping that if she wants to do acting, she'll have that choice. You know, the thing is like what I want. Like my parents didn't know anything about theater or film. When I say theater, I mean like they weren't theater people. Mm-hmm. They weren't actors. They weren't directors or writers. They weren't professionals in that field. They liked movies a lot. We went to the movies, and that's why I think a lot of my love for the movies came from. We went every weekend, you know, and they took me to stuff I probably shouldn't have seen, like Radar. They're just cheap. They didn't want a babysitter. Yeah. And my siblings were like, we got dates, you know. So I saw like The Shining when I was 5, you know, The Killing Fields anyway, stuff like that, which, you know, for better or for worse. But they didn't know what to do with me, you know, when I was in high school or seeking a professional career. I think that if she wants to pursue acting or film or theater or anything in the arts, I feel like she's going to have a solid background because she's grown up around it. And if that's something that she chooses, she'll be able to get there a lot quicker. As far as like, you know, because age is a commodity. I mean, but a lot of, you know, they say that youth is wasted on the young, right? But I feel that she'll have enough support and knowledge that if that's something that she wants to go for, that it's available to her. And I also think that growing up around different kinds of people, you know, circus people, growing up around theater and film people will give her a love and compassion for all people, you know. And then also acting will help her get out of speeding tickets. So, you know, important things like that.
What's your favorite part of the process? From like writing to creating it and all
God, I like a lot of it. That's weird. Yeah, that's really weird.
That's
I mean,
weird.
they all have their certain je ne sais quoi, right? But the satisfaction of seeing a concept to come alive, all the way, like you're like, this was just an idea and now it's real. Now it breathes and exists and it's been set free upon the universe. Wow. I used to work in a video store, and look that up. Google what a video store is. Oh, you're old. And it was called AVP, which stood for Audio Video Plus. And it was the best video store in Houston. It had over 70,000 titles, but they were all on VHS. So it closed, right? Because, it'd probably do good now with all the hipster kids. But, however, I remember, I worked there. I worked there for like 10 years. And the movies were in the back. Like, you would come and you would bring up a card and it would correspond to a number and we pull the movies out of the back. And I guess it's like the same thing for like librarians, like writers that work in libraries or bookstores or whatever, how they must feel. Or if you are a person that is spiritual, if you worked in a church, it's sort of like that. When I was working in the video store, I felt both inspired and discouraged because I was surrounded by people's ideas. Like, one person thought of this and then they saw it through and then it is in existence. And now it's one of 70,000 titles, but no one's ever rented it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, what's that like? To know that, right? To know that someone did it, made it happen, but then also to know that it's never been rented in 10 years. It's both like, but you got to remember, this is before like the internet and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully someday, one day, someone will stumble across, some weird, algorithm and find themselves in a Stephanie Saint Sanchez video K-hole. And for better or for worse, let's, hope they don't. Well, let's see what happens. But, so that's my favorite part is like when you come up with an idea and then you write the idea. There's that, it's like, it's just all you right now. Mm-hmm. There's nobody there. It's just like, you can go wild, right? You can get really crazy, say, because there's no budget, in your mind. I mean, there is in my mind because everything I do is independent. So I was like, and there's a flying school bus. Do we have a school bus? We do. Well, let's make it fly. We can, right? Because After Effects, right? So that's enjoyable right there. But then also getting the band back together, that's like, playing again. It's like, playing with your friends, right? The actual process of putting the movie together, the shoot, right? There's excitement. I'm not as young as I used to be, so it takes a lot out of you because it's long hours. It's a lot of hard work. And it's a lot of people trying to do their best, But you're having fun at the same time. At least you're not on, you're not cutting bread for 12 hours in a row, But then when you get to the editing part, I mean, that's almost like writing again, because you can get real crazy. What I'll do is I'll do a crazy edit, right? And a crazy edit's like where I'm just like, that's crazy, and put it together. And then I'll give myself a day of crazy edit, and then I'll be like, okay, that was ridiculous. That's not going to work. No one's going to understand what that means. That's too crazy. And then I'll have to reel it in. So I guess there's no one part. I guess I just love it all. I love it all. So long answer again. Yeah.
Where can we find your work besides your website? Right.
Okay. Well, that's okay. That's a good question because, I mean, I have, there's a couple of things on Vimeo. There's a couple of things on, YouTube. But I haven't perfected marketing, truthfully, of what I do because they are shorts, Mm-hmm. So I'm toying with the idea of, compilations and, offering them, because the hipster kids in a format that is VHS, for sale or for trade or for something. But the best way, if you follow me, or I don't know how to use Instagram yet. Maybe we can trade a gift, you and I. But yeah, is periodically Google my name and something will show up where I'm doing a show or a screening or something. But really, I guess the website Wednesday is the best way to keep up with like what's going on in like the newer stuff. Until now, I mean, really, how does anybody do that? I mean, I guess we can, compare notes with how other people do that, but it is, as far as it is now, I've sold work before merch. Whenever you do a screening, you have a booth, right? With your merch on it, And so I've offered like DVD compilations of like the never seen shorts, like the underground, the early stuff, the modern stuff that's not available on Vimeo or YouTube. So yeah, there are compilations that are available for purchase. Just go to the website on Thursday, not now, after Thursday.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Check to see if it did it.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. So this is from an excerpt from the project called Paradise Exhaust, and this was the project summary. Feel like your life is going nowhere? Yeah, well, so does suicidal, unmotivated, self-saboteur artist, Alexandro Campos. Self-sentenced to yet another identical day of flipping through the one ads, drinking beer, folding clothes half-assed, and listening to her mother's latest gossip about La Idiota Cordelia Cortez. The fun starts when Alex finally gets a call to action via an avocado green refrigerator / teleporter. Transported to the idiosyncratic dimension of Latino legends and folktales, Alex finds herself a contestant on a Hollywood Squares type game show called Mexican Bingo, where the guest celebrities are Latino icons, both old and new. La Llorona, El Borracho, La Virgen de Guadalupe, Emilio Zapata, Maria Tortilla, wrestlers El Cucuy and his partner Jeff, the Mermaid Sisters, Frida Kahlo, La Muerta, and it's hosted by none other than the man himself, Chupacabra Jones. This is a 7-minute HD short comedic narrative with a good dose of delicious magical realism. It is a fabulous through-the-looking-glass melting of the ID's candy-colored plastic pathology, a fun and catty commentary on our universal state of stagnation and celebrity. So I'm going to read the... Ready? Okay. Interior, small apartment day. Nena Campos, 50s, sits at the dining room table folding a fresh batch of clothes, folding briskly and efficiently. Next to her is Alexandra Campos, her daughter, 20s. She folds slowly, picking off all the easy stuff. Nena. So I told La Idiota that if she is okay with Terry dressing that way and the whole town thinks she's a lady of the evening, then so be it. She says she's all being persecuted for embracing her femininity, como la Erin Brockovich. I don't know about that, but at Aunt Shirley's retirement party, you know the one I told you where Terry shows up and is all like, oh, I just came in straight from work. Shirley leans over and says to me, on the corner. That was messed up, but you know me, I don't stick my nose in any other people's business. Live and let live, that's what I always say. So that's like the mother character. That's it.